In this lesson, we will learn how to use the yogic practice of body scanning to help you create targeted and custom warm-ups for your specific pain. If you'd like, you can lie down on the floor or sit on a cushion like I'm doing now, or sit on a comfortable chair if you find that your knees are hurting. So I want you to start by taking a few deep breaths. Once you've taken a few breaths, allow your breathing to return to normal and close your eyes. I want you to begin by placing your attention on your toes. Wiggle your toes around and notice how they feel. You might want to label the feeling, whether they feel hot or cold or numb or tingly or any other adjective that describes the sensation that you're having in your toes. Now move to your ankles. Turn them right and left. Just turn them all around. And as you move your body gently, notice how each part of the body feels and give it an adjective. Just notice how you feel. Now move your attention to your right thigh and then your left. Then into your hips and your lower back and your abdomen, your chest, and your upper back. Just notice how you're feeling in all these areas of your body, and take your time with this. After we're finished this video, you can try this exercise again on your own, and you can go slower than we're doing now. Now move your attention to your arms and your forearms, your wrists and your fingers, your lower neck, and finally, your face and your head. Take your time to notice each part of your body and just acknowledge how it feels with one or two adjectives. After you've scanned each area of the body, take a moment to choose a target in your body. So this is going to be one area of your body that feels particularly tense or sore or strained. And there might be more than one, but let's just pick one for now. So this could be anywhere in your body that you like. And don't worry if there are more than one area, because you can do this exercise multiple times with all the different areas of your body. And you can create different warm-ups for all these different areas. So some of the common targets for cello players like us might be pain in your neck and shoulders. You might be feeling an achiness in your hands, your wrists, or your forearms. You might feel a tightness or general anxiety in your chest, and you might feel pain in your hips or your lower back. And these targets might be different, and they might change day to day, so it's important to check in with yourself and do a quick body scan every time you practice so that you can choose the right warm-ups and exercises to minimize the pain and tension and to reduce your overall likelihood of injury. And what we're going to be working on in this module and going into the next is creating your own personalized exercises to help your specific areas that are hurting. So when you've settled on a target to work on, we're going to break it down into 3 pain-reducing steps. So the first step is going to be to do some light movement and warm-up in the target area. Then moving on to some deep stretching and fascial release, which means releasing the tension in the upper areas of your skin and muscles to create more enduring pain release overall. And we're going to work on exercises to strengthen and support the muscles to prevent pain from occurring again in the future. So let's focus on the first step, which is light movement in a target area of the body. So the first thing that I do when I'm working on a target is to move the area and supporting body parts to loosen them up and perhaps identify more specifically where things are hurting. You might want to start gently noticing any areas of resistance as you do this practice. And I encourage you to move the area of your body in different ways and be creative about it. The purpose of this preliminary movement is just to notice and to start warming up the area that you want to work on to release the pain. And it's also to get really specific about what it is that's hurting and where it's hurting. You might be surprised that sometimes the source of a pain that you're having may not actually be where you're feeling the pain at first. And when you start to deep dive, you'll notice that that pain is actually originating somewhere else in your body. So take your time and don't be afraid to try new movements. So most often when I'm doing my preliminary movements for neck tension, for example, I notice that as I start to feel my neck and, move it around a little bit, I notice that sometimes this pain seems to originate lower in my body. And my lower shoulders, for example, or even down the right side of my body. So fitness experts often agree that much of the stress and strain we feel in the extremities of the body, so let's say you're feeling, some tightness in your neck or into your arms, this can often be alleviated by working on the core, stronger parts of your body. When you improve the flexibility and strength there, you'll find that this starts to translate into more movement and flexibility and less pain in your extremities. For cello playing, I find that any movement that works and lengthens and strengthens your core is particularly useful. As well, making sure that whatever work you do on one side of the body, you also do on the other. As cello players, we tend to get kind of out of balance. So when you're doing exercises, you want to make sure that you're rebalancing by doing the exercises on both sides. In this way, you can maintain the balance and symmetry in your movement. So, for example, when I feel pain, and perhaps even pain that's leading to a headache, I most often start with gentle movement in my lower back so that it can work up through my body and into my neck. So, for example, one movement that works really well, and many of you are probably experienced with this if you've been doing any yoga at all, is the basic child's pose, which is when you just sit on your knees, place your hands out in front of you, and stretch your body out like this. And breathe really deeply. And you can hold this pose for as long as is comfortable. For now, I'm just going to hold it for about 10 seconds. And then I'm going to come back up to sitting. But you can do this for as long as you need. Child's pose is extremely therapeutic for all kinds of pain. You'll feel it in your lower back, up through your shoulders, all through your neck. So an example of something that you might do when you're working with these gentle movements, say for example neck pain, is a foundational warm-up of light movement and stretching. So for example, stretching out the body like I just did, taking deep breaths. For example, you might try gently stretching out each arm forward a few times. So this is if you're experiencing neck pain, anything that's coming from your core, and you're just stretching out each arm very gently, very easily. Right? You can do both arms. If you want to intensify your core stretch after you do a child's pose, you might try crossing your legs, which starts to get at the lower hips and lower back. So you can cross your legs like this. For some people, this is very intense stretch just as it is. Other people like to incorporate the stretching forward with this. Something else that might help if you're feeling any tension kind of in your upper body here is to do some gentle side stretching. So side to side like this. Again, gentle and exploratory is key. So when you find yourself in a position, you want to be asking yourself, just like we did in the body scan, like how does this feel? And not going any further then causes, some just gentle stretching and tension. You don't want to hurt yourself at this point or do anything that's going to increase your pain. So you're moving in very gentle ways, and everybody's body is different. The important thing is just to start moving with the area that might be causing you some pain. So once you've done kind of a foundational stretch, and let's say you're working on, an extremity further up the body like the neck or the arms, you might try actually working more specifically with that area. So let's say you have a sore neck. You can try moving your neck, again, very slowly back and forth. And what I find really helps is when you feel an area of resistance, just stay there for a minute. So for example, like I'm feeling a little bit of tinge here when I stretch to the side, so I'm just going to stay there and then slowly explore moving around that tension, just seeing if I can carefully work it out. I often like to put a hand on the area that's causing some pain. You know, you can kind of dig in a little bit with your fingers, see what you can feel. And take your time with this. I often find that people really rush stretching, but the more time you take before you play to stretch out your body, the longer you're going to be able to play without pain in the end. And then I'm going to just do this on the other side because I stretch that way too. So once you're kind of done your area warm-up, starting with some foundational stretching and moving to the area that's hurting, you can repeat this sequence as many times as you need to feel like you're really ready to play. Like if you're feeling a lot of tension in a particular area that you know is going to cause you trouble when you play, like for me, for example, in my neck or my shoulder, I'm going to want to make sure that that's pretty loosened up before I start playing. Otherwise, about 10-15 minutes into my playing, that is going to start hurting, and then I'm going to have to stop. So it's really good to make sure you have it worked out before you play. So yeah, so you can repeat that a few times. And as you do these movements, feel free to modify anything that doesn't feel right or causes discomfort. The idea is not to cause pain, but to start working with the area that's feeling some pain and see if we can move it and play with it in creative ways to get it kind of moving out of your body. And we're trying to gently get to our areas of pain and encourage a loosening, but we definitely don't want to do too much too soon. So if you're kind of new to stretching, you haven't done a lot of yoga, this kind of thing, you want to really start very slowly with very limited movements and then gradually move into more movement. So this week, I would like you to start integrating a simple warm-up routine that targets one area of your body by starting with the core areas of your body. So for example, when we were working on my neck, I started by doing a core stretch to stretch everything out from the core and then moving towards the neck. And for example, if you were to have a pain in your wrist, you might start by working out your back, your shoulders, and your forearms, and then moving to the wrists. And feel free to be creative with your movements. In the resources, I'm going to give you a few examples of different movements that you might try, but this is really an experiment for you to figure out ways that work for you to move your body in ways that are therapeutic for you. So I don't want to tell you what to do, but more like you're going to experiment and figure out what works for you and come up with a warm-up plan for specific areas of pain in your body. In the next lesson, we're going to go deeper into the concept of fascial release and how that can be used to really dig into some of those stubborn areas of pain that don't respond very well to stretching or other kinds of movement. And we're going to be using various tools to get at those areas of pain. So that's what we'll be doing in the next lesson. Thank you. Hey cellists, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe to get more helpful tips for cellists of all levels on how to play with more mind and body awareness.